Hey everyone, welcome back to Coins Numismatic Series. If you're someone who loves history pressed into metal, or if you've ever wondered whether that quarter in your change could actually be worth more than 25 cents, then stay tuned, because today we're diving deep into a very interesting piece, the 1996 P. Washington $quarter coin, specifically one in fine condition. You might be surprised to discover how much this simple, everyday coin carries in terms of design legacy, minting history, and collector intrigue. So grab your magnifying glass, settle in, and let's get started. Let's rewind for a moment. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932, introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse, that's the front side, features a stately portrait of Washington, while the reverse displays a proud bald eagle, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. This design remained largely unchanged for over 6 decades, until the advent of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. That means the 1996 quarter stands as one of the last coins bearing the original Washington, Flanagan design before the modern series took over. Now, the 1996 P quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the small letter P just to the right of Washington's ponytail. For newer collectors, that P mint mark is your first clue about where your coin originated. In 1996, the Philadelphia Mint produced an astonishing 927,638,000 Washington quarters. That's right. Nearly 1 billion coins rolled off the presses that year, so the 1996 P isn't exactly rare in the traditional sense. However, that doesn't mean all 1996 P quarters are created equal. Condition, errors, and subtle die variations can transform an everyday coin into a collector's piece worth several times its face value. When we talk about condition, or grade, in numismatics, we're referring to the level of wear and preservation. A coin in fine condition, often abbreviated F, shows moderate wear on its high points but still retains a decent amount of detail. On a 1996 P quarter in fine condition, you'll notice that Washington's hairlines are visible, though flattened, and the lettering around the rim remains sharp but may show light smoothing. The eagle's feathers on the reverse are still distinguishable, particularly along the wings, though the breast area may appear worn smooth. The luster, that natural mint shine, will have faded with circulation, replaced by a soft, even gray tone. It's the kind of coin that's clearly circulated, yet not abused, a survivor of countless transactions and pockets, still carrying the essence of its original design. Now, you might be thinking, if there were hundreds of millions made, and mine just looks okay, why should I care? The beauty of the 1996 P quarter lies in its position in numismatic history. It's one of the final issues before a seismic change in U.S. coin design, a bridge between the classic eagle reverse and the explosion of creativity that began in 1999 with the state quarters. For many collectors, the 1996 P represents the last chapter of the traditional Washington quarter era, closing a 64-year story before a new era began. Let's explore a bit of the minting background. The 1990s were a transitional decade for U.S. coinage. Advances in die technology and metal planchet preparation led to more consistent strikes, but also to occasional experimental variations. Philadelphia's production volume meant dies were used extensively, and some 1996 P quarters exhibit light die wear, die polishing lines, and in rare cases, minor die cracks or doubling, subtle minting errors that can add to a coin's desirability. One of the more sought-after varieties is a die break near Washington's ponytail or small doubling on the word Liberty. While these errors aren't as dramatic as, say, the 1955 double die cent, they still attract specialists who chase even the smallest deviations from perfection. Now, let's talk numbers. In fine condition, the typical 1996 P Washington quarter generally trades for its face value, 25 cents, simply because of its high mintage and relatively recent vintage. However, its value increases when you move up in grade. An extremely fine, XF, or about uncirculated, AU, example can sell for around 75 cents to $1, while uncirculated or mint state, MS, examples, particularly those graded MS 65 and above, can fetch anywhere between $5 and $20 depending on eye appeal and luster quality. Gem examples with strong strikes and minimal contact marks are surprisingly tough to find, especially considering how many were made. The vast majority entered circulation immediately and stayed there, which means finding a pristine one today isn't as easy as you'd think. Even though a fine condition 1996 P quarter doesn't hold significant monetary value, it carries immense educational and historical worth. Collectors often use such coins as type examples, reference pieces that help illustrate changes in minting standards, design evolution, and metal composition over the decades. By 1996, quarters were struck in the modern clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This sandwich metal replaced the 90% silver composition that ended in 1964. When you tilt your quarter and look at its edge, that reddish inner core is the copper center peeking through. It's a small reminder of how the economics of coin production changed. When the metal value of silver coins began to exceed their face value, the U.S. Mint had to adapt. Let's take a moment to appreciate the artistry. John Flanagan's portrait of Washington was based on a 1785 bust by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon, considered one of the most lifelike representations of America's first president. Over the decades, subtle modifications were made to improve striking clarity, but the essence of Washington's calm, resolute gaze remained. On your 1996 P coin, look closely at the fine details around the forehead, the curls of hair, and the sharpness of the motto, "In God We Trust." These small elements can reveal how much wear your coin has endured, and they're often key indicators in determining grade. Collectors who focus on modern circulation coins often pursue date and mintmark sets, one coin from each mint for each year. The 1996 P would naturally be paired with its 1996 D counterpart from Denver, and perhaps a 1996 S proof coin from San Francisco if you want a complete trio. The proof version, struck in limited numbers for collectors, has a mirror-like finish and was sold in U.S. Mint proof sets. But for our focus today, the fine condition business strike, there's a certain charm in its honesty. Every nick, scratch, and dulled surface tells a story of daily life, vending machines, toll booths, arcade games, school lunches, gas stations. It's a humble coin that served its purpose with dignity. Let's also mention the cultural context of 1996. The year saw events like the Atlanta Summer Olympics, the rise of the Internet age, and new economic optimism in America. Every 1996 quarter spent that year was part of a society in transition, just like the coinage itself. So even though your 1996 P may not shine like a silver dollar, it's still a time capsule of American life at the close of the 20th century. If you're cataloging your collection, make sure to note the coin's mint mark, condition, and any visible errors. Store your fine condition coins in a 2x2 holder or coin flip to prevent further wear. Avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can scratch the surface and reduce numismatic value. Instead, preserve its natural patina. Collectors appreciate authenticity over artificial shine. To sum it up, the 1996 P Washington quarter in fine condition may not buy you a trip to Hawaii, but it offers something far more enduring. A connection to America's numismatic past, a snapshot of a design that defined generations of coinage, and a tangible piece of a turning point in history. As a collector, you know that not every treasure has to gleam. Sometimes, the most meaningful coins are the ones that simply survived, coins that carry the weight of millions of hands, pockets, and stories. So next time you're sorting through your change and that familiar eagle reverse catches your eye, take a second look. You might just be holding a small piece of the legacy of the Washington quarter, and a quiet reminder of the craftsmanship, art, and history hidden in everyday money. Thanks for watching Coins Numismatic Series. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1996 P Washington quarter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with fellow collectors. There's always more to discover, and every coin has a story. Stay curious, keep collecting, and I'll see you in the next episode.